Okay, it's a new day. I have to plug this camera in. I never even plugged it in last night. So this is where we're going to start. Okay, so it is what? September 15th, 2022. And we're going to start in Mr. Lace's cat house. Should have been done last year, but besides that point. So I'm going to, you'll see. Okay, I'll bring out the camera. I'll go charge it. Amari's on the toilet. It's 10:10 in the morning. He's been on the toilet for about an hour, so now I'm going to fry him an egg with some cheese, and going to feed him and change him and get him all nice and comfy, cozy, and then that will take about an hour and a bit, and then once that happens, I should be out here by 11:30, 12. And then once I'm out here, I'm pretty much out here until whenever. So what we're going to do is we're going to gut that out, take everything out, and I better find a tarp because it's cold and moist out here. Okay, I told you the rain is coming, but I have to work fast. So I'm going to gut everything out. I've got drums on the porch that I took out from the X Club over here. So I'm going to gut everything out, and I've decided to keep the drums so that maybe next spring and summer I can bring them out here and let the kids play, right? But besides that point, I have to rat-proof it, raccoon-proof it. And as I'm working in this area, I'm going to get into this little area, and because this green bin, I want, where is it? Yeah, this one. I want this for the kindling from this tree that my son cut, and I've been cutting branches. You can see there's a whole bunch of branches up there I have to brush off, and right. I bought a grow light for this little cubby, Mr. Lace's cat house, that's 4 feet long, that would fit nicely in the center, but it's not insulated, and it, you know, I mean, like, that requires more work. So right now my goal is just to kind of, I've got vinyl siding in there, so as I go about my day, I'm going to tack on a little vinyl siding here and there, you know, start sprucing it up, because I want to clean up the yard, fix that, get the glass up, fix up a few crevices and cracks. You know, I have to, again, rat-proof, raccoon-proof. You'll see when I get in there and I gut it what I got to do. Go on that side, move things around, move that in, empty this out, move it into there and fill it up with all the little branches, right, that I've already got in buckets over here, right? So, anyway, and then, just so you know, now this is an older camera. I have a few of them kicking around. There was one that I bought that I never really used, so I don't know if it's this one or what, because I ended up getting that other one that had, you know, anyway, I'm using this one now, and with the video that I did yesterday, sitting up in War Room 1 with the tomato plants, this camera was stationary, but what I've been noticing is when I go to upload the videos that I make onto the computer, I end up getting all these pictures of freeze frame. This camera just goes into freeze frame picture taking, and I'll have like anywhere from 4 to 20 pictures of just freeze frame, and then I have to, you know, go and get the next video, right? So anyway, what I noticed yesterday when I was with the tomatoes, this camera was stationary, but it must be face sensitive, because for whatever reason it was moving itself in terms of the lens. It targeted the you know, the Sleeping Beauty and the 7 dwarves. I've got that one dwarf sitting up high, right? It must have targeted its face, because the camera kind of went up like this, and all you seen was my eyes, and then all you seen was just this part, right? And then eventually it worked its way back. That's the camera. That had nothing to do with me. Okay? I'm just letting you know. So if something like that happens, we know it's the camera, but you know, it's better to have this camera than no camera, okay? So, okay, I don't have time to fool around. My eyes are all buggy, whatever. I'm feeling a little whatever, but we can do this. Hold on. Okay, I can't see shit today, people. One, it's kind of, you know, it's a gray day, right? And two, my eyes, like, when I work hard like that, and like, don't forget, I'm lifting Amari. I'm constantly having to move him. I carry him. Just whatever. I've been arguing with Andre quite a bit. Took away his Nintendo. Like, seriously, I'm gonna take it away for 6 months to a year. I'm fucking done with it. Like, you don't know. And, like, I'm having to raise my voice, which, you know, puts strain on my eyes. So anyways, real bad today. Like, real bad. Like I said, my eyes get worse every week. They've gotten worse. But I have some aloe vera that was frozen, and I got it in, I broke off a piece, and I got it in the fridge unthawing right now. So later on, when I come in, I'll have a bath, and give Amari a bath, and then when my face is clean, I'm going to put aloe vera juice inside my eyes. I've already done that, so don't think it causes damage, because it doesn't. In terms of, you don't get no, you know, but I just don't use it regularly. I probably should for at least 3 weeks straight, if not longer. But what it does, I find, is it, because if you have a cut or something, right, and you use aloe vera, your skin gets dry. But boy, oh boy, does it ever heal fast. I know that from the one I did the black walnut, and it was in between my fingers. I got dry and itchy. But boy, did it ever heal up fast, like real fast. Well, when I put aloe vera in my eye, the actual juice itself, they get itchy because they're drying out, right? A little bit. Not completely, but that's the healing. But whatever is going on in my eye, you know, is the glaucoma too, right? So anyway, I'm going to do that. All right, for the next few days. I'll tell you how it goes. I've been like, all morning. Amari's being pickly with his food. He's not wanting to eat, right? Probably because he's so constipated. He's no room to eat. It's getting, you know, more stronger, and I hear the phone ringing. And I'm getting cheeky with me, and stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Oh boy. I'm just gearing myself up for this. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm not gonna get mad. That was the BC Children's Hospital calling up to book an appointment to go see a neurologist because of that seizure. The referral came in from the emergency department at that particular time when that happened. And I told them that right now I don't feel comfortable with it because, one, Amari's been basically acting like his old self. In the last couple of days, he hasn't been wanting to eat very much. Drinking whatever, right? But when it comes to food, he's been quite picky about it lately. And, you know, he needs to poot, right? But other than that, like, you know, and I said that, you know, like, what is the purpose of the visit, you know, outside of trying to book in another MRI, people, to which I don't want him to have. They wanted the one MRI to determine if he had cerebral palsy, even though they all knew that he did, okay? And then the neurologist that I was doing with at that time, because I booked in the Children's Hospital for the MRI, because the first one was botched at the Surrey Memorial. We know that, right? That particular neurologist, you know, suggested that, I mean, there is possibility of seizure, blah, blah, blah. We know that. And that, you know, as he ages, you know, they may want to do another MRI because the brain can deteriorate. And then what? So you do an MRI to find out that the brain is deteriorating to do what? What next? It will be brain surgery? Is that what they got him booked in for? Hip surgery, You know, we've got the physiotherapist down there at the Children's Hospital talking about, yes, he's maybe got scoliosis or whatever, and now we're looking at back surgery, and, you know, and they want to just clip this, and they're going to lead themselves and get them nice and cushy into a brain surgery yet, putting in brain chips, right? As my government and crooked judges are preventing justice for Mari by saying that you have to go find a lawyer, come up with 50 grand to retain the lawyer in order to do birth injury litigation. Otherwise, you can't do shit, and you can just take what we give you, whether you like it or not. So anyway, I told them that I'm seeing the physician, the pediatrician. I'm seeing the pediatrician in October, and I'll discuss it with him, right? Because if the only reason I'm going is for an appointment to book an MRI, I'm not doing it, people. An MRI isn't going to tell us anything other than whether his brain is the same or if it's slightly deteriorated because of that one seizure. Because they can't guarantee to me that the MRI isn't causing brain damage, to which, in my opinion, with that botched shit that they did, technically Amari's had 2 MRIs already, and he's not even, well, he's 5 years old now. Who benefits from that? The healthcare system and the worker and all the government and their employees, or Amari? Amari's not benefiting from that. It doesn't change his life. It just freaks him out and makes him uncomfortable and being, you know, it just doesn't, people. The last time I seen a neurologist, I told him, I don't want Amari to ever have another MRI in his life. He got the one, that's it. That's my feelings on it. It is what it is. You love Amari for Amari. Okay? I'm stupid. They're just speeding up his end of life cycle. It is not preventative medicine. It's something else. So if he goes back into having more seizures, that's what I told this woman, you know, if he was having seizures more regularly, and clearly there was something going on, then yeah, I'd be more adamant to jump on the bandwagon. But right now, he's only had the one. The doctor at the hospital said it could be the only one that he ever has, or it could be the beginning of more to come. Nobody really knows. The medicine he's on he seems to be somewhat tolerable with it. I think he sleeps sometimes a little more, but then we keep weird hours, right? You know, he's up at 4, 5, 6 in the morning with me sometimes. So if he falls asleep at 2, 3 in the afternoon, you know, I just gotta tell myself, relax, it's not the medicine. It's because he's been up since 5, playing, right? And he's always been a little night owl, we know that. Amari, what are you doing? You're supposed to be sleeping, as your mother would say. So, you know, I'll discuss it with the pediatrician. If we both agree that it's, you know, necessary. See, it's not necessary. There is no emergency. Do people go for MRIs when they're having seizures all the time? I don't know. Like, you know, like, for every time a person has a seizure, are they whisked off to go have an MRI? And if so, how many times does it happen for them? I need to know some of these statistics. And for all this MRI technology, what is it accomplishing and how is it going to help Amari in the long term, outside of maybe booking him in for brain surgery, a research study yet to boot? That's what I'm saying. My grandson is at the mercy of whatever, people. Because he's locked into that manufactured poverty, where the government pays for these things. And people like myself don't necessarily have the ability to say no. Right? Even though we're saying no for all the right reasons. And then I said, well, you know, if it looks like it's going in that direction where, you know, I'm going to have to come in and see you guys, then because it costs $150 to go there and back by taxi, you know, that's a lot of money, to which I do fill out a form to have that paid for through the medical plan that I'm under through this at-home program. But, you know, then in that situation, like, I got to go in March with Amari to the children's hospital to go see the hip doctor and the dentist. Well, you know, maybe the next time I have to go back, I'll see the hip doctor, the dentist, and the neurologist. And then it's the feeding team, and the physiotherapist, and the pediatrician, and the freaking eye doctor. Do you see how this goes? They all benefit. Not Amari, though. He'll never get no justice. He'll always be at the mercy of them people. And there is no mercy. Because if there was mercy, there would be justice. So the older he gets, the more vulnerable he's going to get, because he won't have me batting in his corner, that for sure. That's for sure. And he'll lose his cuteness. And then because he's big and heavy and hard to move around and stronger and cheekier under certain circumstances, people aren't going to be patient with him, and they're going to see him as a financial burden and a waste of time in terms of the, you know, the physical care part, because he's under that public care system. He's not under private care. He's under that public care. And there's not enough resources to go around for the public. Only when it's convenient for the public union sector is it convenient, in terms of like that's when they have the resources. But once Amari gets older, people care even less than what they care now. And if they care, it's because he's just a kid, just a little boy. And even then, it's surface caring. It's not of substance. So, just see how it goes in October. When I go see the pediatrician. I know he mentioned it to me, but that's just their protocol, their schedule, their budget. Right? For every kid like Amari, there's a budget, and they like to maximize on their budget. So if you bail out, the hospital loses money. The doctors will say, well, we don't, you know, get paid per patient. We get paid for just being here, so it doesn't matter to us one way or another. But that's a bunch of crock, too, because once they start prescribing prescriptions and all this other shit and add in more freaking tests and booking an MRI, they're getting paid for it, okay? And then some of them are doing those backroom deals on body parts. And they're so crooked, they don't care who they are. including little kids. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, I'm going to get into this Mr. Lace's cat house, and I'm going to gut it. I don't think it's going to rain today. Hopefully it won't. And once I start, I really should get myself a coffee to get motivated because I'm crashing. That depression has got that cloud over me, and that phone call didn't freaking help. Right. But once I start, I'm usually pretty good, so hold on. Okay, I'm in here now, but guess what? It's rain. I brought out the cord. I got the skill saw. I'm starting to move around. Feeling motivated even though I'm choked. So I don't know if I'll be pulling this stuff out, but I'll just move around in the yard for a little while and do a few things in the rain. Hold on. Okay, I think it's September 16th, 2022. I'm so tired today, can you tell? It's like not even 9:30 in the morning and all I want is pizza. Papa John's pizza with a bunch of pineapple on it. And lay down and watch TV and doze. And just rest. I've been internalizing. I'm going to put this first. And then I'm going to put what I was talking about yesterday when I was outside. Because I did go back outside. I didn't accomplish as much as I wanted to. But I accomplished a little bit. I mostly was cutting branches and stuff like that and putting it away, and I dragged that green bin under the tree over there and started chucking out, boards and whatever and just moving things around so I can start using, because some of those long, whatever they are, depending on where I'm going to put it, some of them I can put along the fence at the top, right? Because, I'm doing fence repairs, so you put the screen on and then you've got the top that is best to run, technically a 2x4 because they're the strongest, but I'll just use whatever I've got around in terms of maybe length, because you want the whole length of from one end to one end, because that would be the strongest. But if need be, you can piece in whatever. So multitasking, and I got into the little shed and there was a bunch of wood in there on this side that when they were ripping up all the trees over there, first they started cutting down all the poplars and those little things, right? Now they cut hundreds of those. And then I went in there with Sierra. Well, I was in there, and then Sierra came and she helped me to bring a whole bunch home, and I was gonna make crafts with the kids at the courtyard, Gateway Place, someplace. Walking sticks, or saw them in half, and then you can make those. I've said it before, musical instruments. Anyway, those things have been sitting there for. You can definitely tell there was raccoons in there. I haven't even gotten into it to really. It's just so much work, people. Just so much work. That stuff outside is getting wet now. I'm so discouraged. It got picked through pretty good, actually, in light of everything, right? I'm sure a few people were feeling good when they went home. So, from that perspective, mission accomplished. I mean, who wouldn't be happy to find a nice crock pot, right? That worked and wasn't all scratched up and shit, right? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is, right? But the books, I had Chatelaine magazines and all that stuff. Nobody's showing an interest. They're probably getting sopping wet, and I'm like, Judy, just poof, when you're gone, nothing moves except you. At the end of the day, nobody really gives a shit, right? In terms of what's left behind, because they just chuck it. Give it away, forget about it. Just, right? Only you move, everything else stays behind. So I'm trying not to get all bent out of shape over old magazines that I find value in, or miscellaneous books. Like some of those books, they're really outdated in terms of the computer techie books, those kind of things. But what they would have been good for, I don't think they're good for anything other than paper recycling now, because they're all getting wet. But, you know, if I had a more quieter life without so much responsibilities and whatever, then, you know, you fold the pages, right? You cut and you can make, you know, the standard one is the angel, just by folding the pages and all the way around, it opens up like an organ, right? Like a hand organ, right? And you can cut and you can make all kinds of interesting things, but nobody cares about that. And if they do, it's just one in millions, right? So, you know, I'm like, just, it won't go to waste. It will go for paper recycle, because when the recycling bins come out, I'll just go into people's recycling bins and throw in a book here, throw in a book there, you know, throw some into my recycling bin, and it's done. For all these other books in here, a lot of homeschool books and cookbooks, and no, I don't know. I don't have anyone to help me to put them online. I'm hoping maybe I can get Andre kind of on that bandwagon sometime this year. But, you know, when life kicks in and shit happens and things get mixed up and, you know, you get behind on stuff and it gets pretty rough. So today I'm really tired because I was, you know, bending and sawing, and tugging and lifting and pushing and tugging, and just so much physical labor. Put a few more things out in the front that are in the yard right now. Right? I put this, I could see a dad driving by and see that, think of his son, and then just scoop up on it like, yo, wow, this is cool. And take it home to his son and be happy, right? And what it is, honestly, I don't even remember where it came from, but it's been in my yard for years. Andre's never really shown an interest in it. And it's a tractor, a child's tractor that is like huge. Like one of those little motorized cars. Only this one was a foot pedal one, right? And it's in the shape of a tractor. So it'd be great for like a 5 or a 6, maybe even a 7-year-old, right? Probably 4, you could get away with it. A 3-year-old, dad could push, your mom could push, right? I just put it out there, and I'm thinking, well, some parent's gonna be happy to take that home to their kid. I don't know if it's still out there, but I would assume sooner or later it's gonna go, right? Because it's in pretty good working shape considering how long it's been in my yard. And then I found a wine rack in the back in really good shape that's just been kicking around. Put that out there, and I had a weed whacker. I really like it. It's a good model. The only thing is the bottom part, right? You know, whatever that holds the wire is missing. But other than that, the thing is like almost basically new. I've only used it a few times, and it's a better model, you know, well made, right? And I'm like, oh, I had to buy another one this last year because I don't know how to fix that one. So I do have one in the house, but it's not as good as the one I put outside. You know, when Wally cleared out the hen house, he threw it into the fire pit. Big pile, right? So I just put that out on the road. I figured, well, you know, it goes back to that one man's junk is another man's treasure for somebody that knows that kind of stuff, namely a man that knows about weed whackers and the different parts and all that stuff. You know, it might be godsend for them because maybe they have one that's just like that model that's broken and doesn't work anymore. And now if they take this one home, all they have to do on theirs, which is broken, is just take out the bottom and put it into the other one, and they got basically a brand new one, so it didn't cost them anything other than to bring it home, right? That's my reasoning. Maybe somebody got lucky. And even if they didn't, they could still take it home, put it off to the corner, and then keep an eyeball open for another one so that they can take the part from that one and put it in the other one. Because once they turn it on, they're going to realize that it works, right? So, it's just missing that nut. Maybe they have the time to look online to order a part. I wouldn't even know what part to look for. So but I'm so tired today, people. Oh yeah. This notice of civil claim appeal. Oh my God. I don't know if I'm going to meet the deadline. I might have to let it go and just start writing a new notice of civil claim and refile it. I don't want to get sick, people. I can't afford to get sick. And with all this stress going on in my life, with my, I'm just giving away my stuff. No, mind you, it's insignificant in the great grand scheme of things when a lot of it was just because I had the responsibility to provide, for 2 kitchens, right? And there really wasn't that much kitchen stuff because some of the stuff that was down there I ended up taking towards Auntie Shemay's room, like my roasting pans and those kind of things, right? Which I haven't even put away yet. But even still, like, I'm just putting it at, like, giving back, like when I used to go off and do Delta Spring cleanup and find all this stuff and come home and, feeling pretty good about life and everything, right? So I just feel like that's kind of like giving back now. So it's not so painful in terms of, I see it as the beginning of everything falling apart. Just because of people like my landlady who are so adamant for me to get rid of shit. As she's just, preparing me for death. You're never going to have a house like this again. Get rid of your stuff. I just can't get it out of my head. Especially when it's happening. I don't see it stopping now that it's started. And I'm having to turn my back on books that are getting rained on. Telling myself that, poof, once you're gone, nothing moves except you and it won't matter. And I'm supposed to work on the notice of civil claim tomorrow and Sunday. And then find the energy to go jump on a SkyTrain with the kids all the way downtown to file it. Okay. As if I know what I'm doing. I'll try to do it, but I don't want to get sick. And I'm feeling sick because I work so hard, people, you don't know. I work so hard depending on what it is, when it is. Like when the government called me in to dismiss it, I submitted 370 pages of legitimate documents, and that judge ignored it, completely ignored it, ignored fraud, ignored theft, ignored it all. Like from a corporation sense with CIBC Bank with what they did.
trivialized Amari's birth injury and then put it on lockdown where he's forever at the mercy of the public union sector, to whom, now want to call him in more than likely for another MRI because he had one seizure. What did they do before in the past with children with cerebral palsy before MRIs came in, people? What do poor countries do with the children that don't have the equipment like Canada does? Right? Doesn't solve the problem to give Amari another MRI for him to just have another seizure at some point in the future. This neurologist will justify it by, well, we want to see if the brain is deteriorating. Well, clearly it's not deteriorating because he's active and alert and he's figuring things out and, he's communicative, so why would you want to expose his brain to God knows what these MRIs really are about, right? Just to come back and say something changed. Well, yeah, he's learning. Maybe his brain changed because he's learning. Right? I think the seizure comes from because his right side is just so tight, right? The leg, just everything. So it must be the brain too. That at some point it just releases itself, because after he had the seizure and everything, I don't know, he was a little different, but he's starting to tighten up again, right? Because can't always do this all day long, right, for him or whatever. And he gets into his kicking motions and he does his own thing, right? And that takes effort for him to kick his legs and stuff, and so it all feeds into each other, right? But I told him from the very get-go with the first MRI, the one MRI, they botched the first one. Bad enough, right? That was, to them it was nothing. For me it was catastrophic. Then they got the one that they wanted, and then this guy I was dealing with at that time was talking about, well, they're going to want to at some point in the future follow up to see if there's brain deterioration. And I'm like, I've been having my heels into the ground ever since. Like, no, like, whatever. Like, what are you talking? Like, at what age? Well, maybe when he's 20. Well, I'm like, when do they quit? When do they quit, people? So, just another worry. That's all it is. That's all it is. So if I do the appeal, I don't know. It's almost like I'm unprepared. The government knows I am because I'm overworked, and they know it. They know I have issues. They know everything. They're the government. I don't want to make myself sick over it, because as soon as I'm done, I'm back to doing whatever I'm doing, and I'm already making myself sick. So I'm just adding on to that sickness. That's what's happening. But now, mind you, I'm really tired today. I mean, tomorrow I could feel a little more rested. But I brought so much stuff that was flushed out of the basement back upstairs that I'm like in a dilemma up here now, right? So I'm picking away at shit, trying to figure out where I'm going to put it before I have to give that away too, because ain't nobody buying it, people. No, it's just junk. Right? And even if I was to put it online, it takes that one person to want that one thing before anyone would even buy it. So sometimes things could be just sitting there forever before you even get a bite on it. And even if you get a bite on it, doesn't mean nobody's going to buy it. It doesn't mean that somebody's going to buy it. It's just easier to give it away. especially when you got people wanting you to do it, and they expect you to do it. I figure once that starts, which has already started, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. And then it brings me to the point of, what was the point of life? Seriously. What was the point? You know, raise my kids. And they're gone. I'm thinking maybe my son Brooks is dead. Yeah. He hasn't been calling. Now, mind you, it's not unusual for him to just go silent. But over the last year, he's been calling me quite a bit. And, you know, he's been kind of erratic. And he was talking about at one point jumping off a bridge. And, you know, I don't know. Said that if anything happens to him, he didn't want me fighting for him like I've been fighting for Shimei and Sierra, and just let it go. And then he said he can't sleep, and, you know, driving him crazy. You know, and of course, this is in and out of alcoholism, so some days he's more reasonable, while other days he was more erratic. And of course, I can't get all emotionally bent out of shape out of it. First of all, he's always been independent, you know, so, you know, I've learned to accept that in terms of quote-unquote his independence. And second of all, like, I'm sorry, but I just can't cope with alcoholics in general. And I've already lost so much that it wouldn't be unusual to lose my son too, people. Yeah, because when I was illegally cut off welfare back in 2003, my son was 18 years old, had enrolled himself into a different high school so that he could play football and then maybe snag into the junior league and make it a career, right? But I got cut off welfare, lost my house of 8 years, everybody got displaced. That was a big traumatic time for everybody. My kids were happy for the most part, right? Right up until that time. And I think some of the stress just, you know, encouraged a form of schizophrenia to develop, because that's a crucial time for young people, 17, 18, 19, 20, if they come into contact with severe trauma. It could be a catalyst to, because of that cortisol that's going on in the brain, right? And then, because he didn't start drinking until he was 22, right? I couldn't understand it because he was so athletic. And I think he ended up injuring his knee, so that kind of put a halt on the football. But just the idea of losing the house, and the BC Liberal government wouldn't let young people his age, once they aged out of you know, the care of their parents, you know, if they didn't go off and get a job and work for 2 years, they had to work for 2 years before they could even qualify for any kind of social assistance. So he didn't qualify for no social assistance when he aged out, and of course I was looking after him to the best of my ability, but he ended up getting a job as a property manager for like a condo type building, right? And he lived there for quite a few years doing that, but that's when he started drinking. And, you know, alcoholism is funny. It sneaks up on you and eats away at your brain over the years. And he drank hard liquor straight out of the bottle, and so I don't know. He could be in jail. He could be in a mental institution from a mental breakdown, or he could be dead. You would think if he died, the police would come and let me know, assuming that they could find his dead body, right? I mean, I don't know. what's the point of life? Right? Sierra's life had no value. Shimei's life had no value. If my son is dead, he has no value. His life has, when I die, my life will have no value. When Amari dies, at the mercy of, his life will have no value. So on, so on, so on. Oh. So I just figure I'll just poke around today and see how it goes. I'll try and debate. Like I said, I'm thinking to do that live stream, but I have to turn on this camera and record it because I can't download my own videos onto my computer from YouTube, even though there's a download button, unless I sign on to their membership, and I won't do that. I'm not signing on for membership. YouTube has caused me a lot of trouble. It's not a very fair website. So I don't sweat it. Because at the end of the day, poof, when I'm gone, all those videos will mean nothing. Just as much as this stuff around me means nothing. So I mean, what's the point? What is the point, people? To make yourself sick over shit that means nothing. In the great grand scheme of things. Right? So, should I upload this? Or should I just delete everything for now and start fresh when I'm a little more perkier? I just want to go lay down, eat Papa John's pizza, munch on a little bit of these jalapeno hot peppers or whatever they have. They're so good, I like them. And just rest. And then maybe I might have energy. I mean, whatever Judge Ross did, people, it's not like it can't be followed up on a new lawsuit. I'd be more organized if I filed a new lawsuit than I would if I tried to do an appeal. I think so, maybe. Right? I'm thinking about that dream with Shemaine. But I find these dreams sometimes kind of questionable. They're too vivid. And to the point, like with Shemaine dead with the blanket. And that's all I seen. She was dead. There she is, dead on a hospital bed with the blanket. Come on. If that's not vivid, I don't know what is. Same thing like with when Tisha was born. If that wasn't vivid, I don't know what is.